What is God? Baruch Spinoza identifies God with the one infinite reality expressed as nature. Catholic theology identifies God as the transcendent creator who freely gives existence to the universe and remains intimately present within everything he creates. Their shared conviction that all reality depends upon God leads to opposing metaphysical systems. Spinoza begins with substance, something that exists in itself and is understood through itself. He argues that only one absolute substance exists. It possesses infinite attributes and expresses itself through everything. Spinoza calls it God or nature, Deus sive natura. Human beings, animals, planets, and thoughts are finite modes of this single substance. Every event arises within the necessary unfolding of God or nature. The divine operates as impersonal necessity, and nature follows eternally from the divine essence through an unbroken chain of causes. The universe expresses what the one substance necessarily is. Freedom consequently receives a distinctive meaning. Spinoza defines a free being as one that acts from the necessity of its own nature. Human freedom grows through adequate knowledge of the causes shaping desires and emotions. Reason transforms passive emotion into active understanding and brings life into greater harmony with nature's order. Spinoza possesses a serious ethics of reason. He seeks liberation from fear, superstition, hatred, and emotional slavery. The rational person develops an intellectual love of God and attains peace through understanding reality. His philosophy emphasizes unity, intelligibility, disciplined thought, and emotional self-knowledge. Catholic theology understands God as incorporeal, immutable, and perfectly rational. He sustains nature's intelligibility, and human reason participates in an order established by divine wisdom. Catholic theology begins from ipsum esse subsistens, subsistent being itself. Every creature possesses existence. God is his own existence. Creatures receive being. God exists through the infinite perfection of his own nature. God transcends the entire created order and remains present to every creature at the deepest level of its existence. Saint Augustine described him as higher than the highest within us and more inward than our innermost self. The universe receives its entire existence from God and remains a created reality distinct from the divine essence. God creates from nothing through a free act of wisdom and love. Creation adds nothing to his perfection. Its existence expresses divine generosity. God possesses infinite intellect and will. He knows himself, knows every creature, and freely wills the good. Divine personality transcends human personality and grounds human personhood. The one God exists eternally as Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. Three divine persons possessing one undivided divine nature. Love exists in God before the creation of the universe. Spinoza's system places necessity at the foundation of existence, understands persons as finite modes, and treats final causes as human projections. Catholic theology grounds existence in divine freedom, regards every person as deliberately willed, and locates purpose in divine intelligence. Spinoza identifies necessary divine substance with nature and treats every event as its inevitable expression. Modal collapse follows. The distinction between what must exist and what could have been different becomes extremely difficult to preserve. Every event ultimately carries the same necessity as God's existence. Reality displays contingency. Stars arise and perish. Species emerge and disappear. Human decisions involve unrealized possibilities. Physical constants possess determinate values whose alternatives remain conceptually intelligible. The complete reason for the universe's existence lies beyond the universe. Catholic metaphysics distinguishes necessary being from contingent beings. God possesses existence through his essence. The universe receives existence. The distinction explains creation's radical dependence and genuine contingency. Spinoza regards thought and extension as attributes of the one substance. Thought thereby occupies a fundamental place within reality. Individual minds remain finite modes of an impersonal whole. Catholic theology grounds reason in infinite intellect. Human intelligence can know reality because the mind and the intelligible world come from the same divine wisdom. A personal and intelligent foundation explains why consciousness, rationality, and truth belong to reality. Spinoza interprets good and evil largely through their relationship to human flourishing. From the perspective of infinite nature, every event occupies its necessary place in the total order. His ethics condemns cruelty because destructive passions diminish human power, reason, and cooperation. Absolute necessity weakens the ultimate authority of moral obligation. The saint and the murderer arise within the same unavoidable unfolding of substance. Their moral difference corresponds to finite human interests and capacities. Reality as a whole contains both actions as necessary expressions of itself. Catholic theology grounds goodness in God's eternal nature. Moral truth possesses objective authority because perfect goodness stands at the foundation of reality. Evil is the corruption of a good that ought to exist. Cruelty violates personal dignity established by the Creator and independent of social preference. Created persons possess real, limited freedom. Divine providence sustains every action at the level of existence, and creatures remain genuine causes of their choices. Divine and created action operate at different metaphysical levels. A writer receives from God existence, intelligence, and the power to act. The writer remains the genuine author of the book. Divine causality similarly sustains natural causes and human agents together with their authentic powers. Miracles reveal the same structure. A miracle is a divine action, producing an effect beyond the ordinary powers of created nature. The Father, Son, and Holy Spirit act inseparably because they possess one divine power. When Christ performs a miracle, the incarnate Son acts in communion with the Father and the Holy Spirit. The miracle is personally attributable to Christ and belongs to the undivided action of the Trinity. Spinoza interprets every event through nature's immutable necessity and classifies miracles as events whose natural causes remain unknown. Christianity teaches that the Creator possesses authority over the order He freely established. A miracle expresses divine rationality through a higher causality ordered toward a meaningful purpose. The central Christian claim is historical and personal. God entered creation through the Incarnation. Jesus Christ reveals God through His life, teachings, miracles, death, and resurrection. Christianity places its conception of God within history and opens its claims to philosophical and historical investigation. Spinoza's account presents Jesus as an exceptional bearer of divine wisdom. Christianity confesses Jesus as God incarnate, crucified, and bodily risen. Spinoza's metaphysical premises admit only events governed by nature's necessary order. His conclusions about Christ therefore arise from his prior commitment to metaphysical necessity. Spinoza gives a rigorous account of unity, rational order, emotional discipline, and intellectual freedom. His critique exposes superstition, anthropomorphic projections, and religion governed by fear. The consequences of absolute necessity reveal the system's limits. Creation functions as the necessary expression of substance. Individual persons possess the status of temporary finite modes. Freedom consists in rational comprehension of necessity. Purpose arises through human projection. Moral evil loses ultimate opposition to the foundation of reality. Spinoza conceives love as intellectual alignment with the whole. Catholic theology grounds love in free communion between persons. Catholic theology unites divine unity, the creator-creation distinction, natural order, and divine freedom within one coherent metaphysics. It grounds consciousness in supreme intelligence, moral goodness in perfect goodness, personal dignity in creative love, and history in providential purpose. The human desire for truth, goodness, beauty, justice, and eternal communion corresponds to real perfections whose fullness exists in God. The Catholic conception withstands the examination. Spinoza's identification of God with nature collapses under the consequences of absolute necessity. God is the source of the universe, the sustaining cause of every moment of its existence, and the final end toward which creation is ordered. The universe reveals God through its existence, order, and beauty, and remains a created reality. Every finite reality depends upon an infinite foundation. Catholic theology identifies that foundation as the transcendent Creator who grants existence to every creature. Reality, therefore, has an intelligible, free, personal, and good foundation. Its ultimate principle is the living God, Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. The universe exists through him and reflects his wisdom and goodness. Its entire grandeur remains finite before the one who called it into being.